Throughout my life, I've known many hundreds of people who have succumbed to addictions. More and more people each and every single day. Because there was once a time when nobody was addicted to anything. Where there was no such thing as porn addictions. When there was no such thing as porn full stop. There was no such thing as video game addictions because they were just seen as a natural thing that 9-year-olds did. 10-year-olds did even. There was no such things as vapes. And those were the favourite times of my lives. Because ever since that day, that famous day, where something just changed in the air of the United Kingdom and everyone was all of a sudden addicted to nicotine, my life has been worse. As a whole, like gross, large scale, my life's been substantially worse ever since the day that all of these people I've known for my entire childhood have become addicted to vapes. And that's the main great addiction that has completely ruined my hopes of this planet. Even more than porn addiction, even more than anything else on this planet, even more than drugs addictions. People still know drugs are bad, innately. They make you feel a way you're not supposed to feel, they make you feel unnatural. There's a reason they make you feel drunk or high. It's because it's unnatural, it's something you're not meant to feel, perhaps. Have you ever thought of that? Maybe you'd stay away from drugs. But this vaping epidemic rose from literally the deep depths of hell. It rose from the ground out of nowhere to try and combat against the young peoples and their high energy, their high testosterone boost that they get, and this magical power that they have. This almost like unicorn blood which makes them invincible. They can get cut 100 times, not care. They could charge through people emotionlessly because they have infinite amounts of energy to be able to do so. And then all of a sudden vapes came along. And now vapes are the new crave. These little cylinders that look like dildos. Which means you're sucking on a dildo if you're sucking on a vape. You sit there and you enjoy it. And you sit there and you suck it and you have your flavoured air and you're happy. You're really happy about your flavoured air, bro. Good for you, I'm glad. But ever since that day, where flavoured air just magically spawned itself into my life's been substantially worse. Not because I've been addicted, but because, like I said, hundreds of people around me have been addicted. And it all started 3.5 years ago. I was looking at my calendar, for those of you wondering. It all started about 3.5 years ago, during the month of August. The shittest month of the year, in my opinion. Not because of the weather, just because it's so boring. Such a mundane month. But we've just come off the bat of school year, I don't remember which one, a school year, right? It was the England Euros, 2021. England to the finals, vibes were high, everyone was happy, which means I had a nice friend group going along. I had lots of friends going along, as a matter of fact, who were all interested in football, just for the Euros, perhaps. I went to my friend's house, watched Euros a couple times, and that's an actual friend I've had for a very long time. And then in my town, locally with my friends, right, who live around this area, we went to the park and played football instead. Every single day until the Euros ended. And nobody believed England would win. Obviously they didn't, right? But everyone was so happy about England Euros. And that happiness, right, that joy and that dopamine almost, continued in to July and August, obviously. And now come August, I'm still hanging out with these people who are local town and have been friends from primary school, which is like the smallest, youngest school in England, right? They've been friends since primary school. It's the step up from kindergarten, right, if you're American. We're still friends from then, all in this town. And we go play football. My friend's riding his bike from quite far away to come here, play football, probably at least a mile away, just to play football. They're riding their bikes down, I have to run because I don't have a bike and all of that stuff. But then coming to August, football dies down a little bit. Because obviously England lost the Euros, everyone knew they would. Even deep down, the English players knew they'd lose, they're useless. I'm joking, right? Yeah, I'm not saying anything negative about professionals, I'm just joking, please. But we had this like positivity still. So they got into this bike riding era. Because that's sort of what they do. Even now, that's what they do. And during this bike riding era, there were all the people that came down to the same place they were building these jump lines. And these older people had a vape. Not one of these plasticky, crappy, obviously it was plastic, right? But not one of these plasticky, crappy geek bars, you fucking geek. It wasn't one of these. It was one of these actual ones where you like pump in the liquid and change the settings like a bloody mini phone screen, just with inhalation of flavoured air. He had this special one of these vapes, and like 40%, 20%. I don't know what it actually is. I don't even know what any of it means now. Fucking, I'm clueless, man. If any of you lot vape, and you know what that is, then to hell with you, man. You need to stop vaping. And that's why I'm here to help you today. Because my friends got addicted into this vaping epidemic. From this little device that you could change the percentages on and everything. That I actually had no clue about. We all took one puff. I took one puff. One puff, what I mean by that is one inhale and exhale. And when I say inhale and exhale, I don't mean like a smooth, like a professional. I mean like a... And then like coughing my lungs out. Instant lung cancer, instant death. And from that moment on, I made an ode and a promise to myself that I would not vape again. And guess what? I didn't vape again. But I don't want to repeat the same story I told a couple of days ago. Everyone got into this vaping epidemic. It started in September, when we started going out to the local town after school on a Friday. And these lot would just pass around their little vape. Heck, at the beginning they didn't really even have one. They just used it when other people had one. And then come October, people started to buy their own. Their own little plasticky things that last for 300 inhalations. Or 400 or 600, I don't know what it is. One of the two, right? And then come November, they're still on it. Come December, they're more on it. They're spending more money now every month. Every single month. It's progressively getting worse and worse and worse. More and more vapes. More and more inhalation of chemical bullshit that you're probably enduring yourself. Actually, you might not be. I'm not going to assume the worst. If you're watching to this point in the video, I'm assuming the best for you. So I'm assuming you're not addicted. But whatever. You keep going. You keep going. More and more and more and worse and worse and worse. And come the end of February. February 26th. Something bad happened. My friends decided, because they didn't have a vape, and they really wanted a vape. They're like, oh, I really need the vape. I really need the vape. They're fiending for it. After we'd just come back from going out to a city. We're in this local town, and they're fiending for a vape. So they're calling loads of people, can you sell me a vape? Can you sell me a vape? And they make the worst mistake of their lives. They buy an actual vape. Not one of these disposable, crappy pieces of poo. They buy an actual vape. One of these actual cylinders with the buttons and the shit that you can change the percentages and I don't know what else. Change the liquids and stuff. They brought an actual vape. And ever since then, they've reached rock bottom. I don't think they can go any lower, honestly. Until they start actually getting negative diseases, I don't think they can go any lower. And this entire time I've stuck against it. March, worse. April, worse. May, worse. June, worse. July, worse. Even worse and worse every single month. To the point where the school toilets are now flooded with these little vapes that people are hiding behind the flush. Do you understand how crazy that is? They would take off the flush from the wall, which is like some... In England, it was like a rectangular thing with a button. They'd take it off the wall and hide their vapes there just in case they get searched. That's how extreme it got. Vaping on the bus, because they couldn't prevent themselves from vaping. At like 7 a.m, 8 a.m. in the morning. Vaping at the break times and lunch times. Vaping after school. Vaping the entire day long. They became completely dependent on vaping. And likely they still are. Like I said, the reason I've been hesitating on using the word friend is because I haven't seen them in months. I haven't actually spoken to any of them in months. The little fiends. Saddos. If you're one of those people, I hope this video found you and I hope you're still watching to this point. There's a reason I told this long story. You'll find out soon. The way you stop any sort of addiction is very, very, very slowly. And I know that sounds useless. But let me show you something. I might need to get a separate piece of paper or I'm going to go get a tissue or something, right? Give me a second. Alright then. The thing I suggest doing is a system such as this. And you might be wondering, what is this cheap shit I've drawn? Because you probably are. Let's say you're here. This is you vaping. Oops, I'm ruining the lighting, my bad. This is you vaping 10 times a day. 10 times a day. I don't know. I'm thinking about like... To be honest, I'm thinking about jerking off. It's a lot easier to do metrics of jerking off than it is vaping. Essentially, don't go cold turkey. Cold turkey, for those of you who don't know, means instead of doing this, you just say, scrap this shit, I'm stopping instantly. You don't have the mental fortitude to be able to do that, because otherwise you would have done that a long time ago when it was a lot easier to. So instead what you should do is, let's say, I'm going to change it to fapping, I'm sorry, I can't physically comprehend how many times you vape in a day. Let's say you fap 10 times a day. because you're a disgusting little gremlin. And you can't stop yourself. 10 times a day is crazy, by the way. But let's say you do 10 times a day. Here you do 10 times a day. And as you go along, you can see it gets smaller. That's because you do it less. So you're 10 times a day here. And then maybe you should come across this is 8 times a day. You see, 10 to 8 times a day. Now you do it 8 times a day. This is your new standard. And I'm not saying this should take multiple days to do. This should take like 1 day, right? You go from 10 to 8. And I'm using extreme numbers. Obviously, you shouldn't be fapping 10 times a day. You shouldn't even be fapping 8 times a day either. If you're doing that, probably need to get some help. But it stops prostate cancer. Sure it does. We'll find out who gets prostate cancer in the future. That's what I'm saying. Let's say this is you doing it 10 times a day. This is you doing it 8 times a day. This is you doing it 6, 4, 2, 1 time a day. Once every 2 days. You see, you progressively get better. And if you're doing it 10 times a day at the moment, I challenge you to do it 1 time a day today. So you can skip this entire beginning part. Because this entire beginning part's a bunch of BS. Go from 10 to 1. It's not cold turkey because you won't be able to comprehend that. But can you not stop yourself? Brother, 10 times a day. If you're actually doing it 10 times a day, find help. Find God. Find Jesus Christ. Go to church. Go to the mosque. Read the Quran. Do something better with your time. But this is like, let's say this is 1 time a day. Because I hope you're not at 10. If you're at 10, you're beyond this scale. This is once every 2 days. Once every 4 days. Once every 8 days. Once every fortnight. Once every month. And you progressively do it less and less and less. It's like, you know how you do progressive overload at the gym? So it's literally the inverse, right? You start off with, let's say, 8 reps of 4 kilo. Then you do 12 reps of 4 kilo. So then you go up to 6 kilo. You're getting 6 reps. And you go up and up and up and up on bicep curls. Because you're really weak, right? You're mega weak. Instead of progressively overloading how much more you're fapping, or how much more you're vaping, you progressively underload how much you're doing this, right? So let's say you're going through 1 vape a week. Now you go through 1 vape every 2 weeks. 1 vape every 3 weeks. 1 vape every 4 weeks. And then 1 vape every 2 months. And then you just stop vaping. Bro, if you're going through a 600 vape over 2 months, that's just 10 puffs a day. Then you decrease that to 5 puffs a day for like a week. Then you decrease it to 2 puffs a day for a week, and then you just stop. Because if you just go cold turkey, you will not manage. You're going to count the days. You're going to sit there and count the days. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, bro, I can't. I've got to count the days. And if you start counting the days, then the moment you fuck up, you will literally fall right back into the same ruts. You'll fuck up. You'll slip somewhere on the mountain. Whoops. But instead of slipping a little bit and being like, shit, I need to keep on climbing. If you're counting the days, it's very, very, very probable that you're going to slip at the peak of the mountain, or let's say here, and you're just going to be like, nah, fuck it, I'm going to go back to where I was. Instead of being like, whoops, I slipped back to once a day. I accidentally did it again this week. Climb back up to once a week. Then climb back up to once a day. It's not about completely restarting. It's about keeping the morals and keep climbing up the mountain. Because guess what? If you fapped on a Monday and then you fapped on a Friday and you're at once a fortnight, you're just going back down to once a week. That's it. Brother, that's it. Now count from Friday, the fortnight perhaps. You don't need to start every week. You don't need to start every single time period. And cold turkey won't work for you. Because literally you'll be climbing up, you're like, I haven't fapped in 30 days. And then when you're at day 35, you're going to slip and you're going to be like, well, I give up. So instead of doing that, try this approach and tell me how it works for you, brothers. Any addiction you have, I hope you found value in this video because that's all I'm trying to provide for you. If you're addicted to anything, feel free to message us inside of our allegiance linked below. You can feel free to join if you'd like, brother. It's up to you. I would advise you to, especially if you're on the same journey, of the same moral standards and beliefs that we do. Because it's a community of like-minded individuals. But I don't need to sell it to you too much. I don't really want to sell anything to you, to be honest. Especially not any paid things. This is completely free. That's the only reason I sell it to you. Or at least for now, at least, I have zero ambitions, zero plans of making any paid stuff. So I hope you found value in this video, brother. And as always, I'll say, may God bless each and every single one of you. Stay strong out there. We'll see you all tomorrow.